Yeah, we love the dog sound effects. Welcome, everybody. It's Friday. We've had a fun old week. China's been going crazy. Utility stocks are going crazy. SMCI is falling apart. And it's
Not
been a
today.
grand old time. Is SMCI back?
Oh, it's back. No, I'm kidding. It's up $16 today, but it's yesterday was the day that everyone was focusing on it.
Yeah, I saw the. Wow, yeah. Looked like it was down at the open and it came back. But yeah, the SMC chaos continues. So, Scott Redler, how are you doing today?
How am I doing today? I'm doing very well. I'm a little tired. It's been a week, but I'll tell you, it's been a really nice active sequence. I talk about active sequences, and literally since the September 11th washout, which was the day when the market basically plummeted and took out all the stops right around here. If you want to take a quick look, if you guys remember, there was this day. There are a lot of days that define a certain sequence, and this was the day that we went below. Could have been, a retest of lower prices, and instead we came back and we reclaimed 542, 549, and closed well. And from here, I feel like there's been lots and lots of very, very specific action. And I know the Alpha team has been making money, and for me, I've been making some really good money. So I'm feeling pretty good actually going into the weekend. So I'm just trying to. Today was a weird day, but it happens. And you're about a day away from the end of the month and the quarter, so there's like shenanigans that go on. There's a little bit of rebalancing and things happening, but all in all, I don't think any trader out there could be really upset. Gold's had a huge move. Silver had a great move. Bitcoin had a nice move. You had a bunch of new highs in some of the Mag 7 names. We had a really good trade in the semis midweek and gave you a way to sell it. But today was a little bit lower than expected. But all in all, I think not a lot of sometimes there's predatory action where it's like, hey, that sucked. It was a great setup and they totally swept my legs out. I feel like in the last week or two, it's been pretty methodical with not a lot of leg sweeps.
Okay, so you said today was a weird day. What makes a day weird?
Just things that you don't expect. Like, listen, this week we really, really focused on Nvidia midweek when it looked like it was going to take out like 118-ish and give you a really nice trade, and it did. We took out 118, and yesterday we were selling at 127. Today's weakness in the semis felt like it was somewhere out of the blue. What do I mean? Well, let's take a quick look. If you look at the chart, it doesn't really show you much. But all in all, it's like, actually, it still looks just fine. This was your day where we were trying to focus in here. I had a lot of options on, had a lot of stock on, and I did sell a whole bunch into here. I would have thought that this candle would have stayed above this low and hung out here instead of breaking below 121.80 and being weak. I just think that made today feel weird to me. Maybe I'm overthinking it and I'm a little bit more micro than the next guy, but today's move down in some of these semis felt as if, and if you look at the chart still looks fine. If it were to break below here, which was like 118.60, that'd be a little different. But today I think traders lost a little bit of money thinking that you would have an easy red to green type trade and just a normal inside day, and today turned into more of not an inside day. It broke below the low, and if you bought too much too fast, you probably got a little hurt.
Okay, Scott, why don't we talk a little bit about China? So we went through the archives. We found out on January 2nd in the free Dog Bites newsletter, the headline was, I'm bullish on China. And by the way, guys, if you want to sign up, go to t3live.com/show, t3live.com/show. You can get Scott's newsletter for free. So China went crazy this week because of stimulus. You've been talking all year about, accumulating FXI on a monthly basis is probably a good idea. And China's been killing it lately, hitting 32 this week. So what did you see in China?
I just, I've been doing this for a long time, since like 1997, and I've seen so many different markets. I saw the tech bubble burst in 2000. I lived and breathed through the financial crisis of 2007, 2008. You could Google Scott Redler financial crisis and see me and Mark Haynes and Aaron Burnett battling it out when I was a young kid. But it's a while ago. And then obviously the pandemic was the pandemic. So I've seen a lot of these crises, and I've seen, the cycle. So with China, we're considered a more adult version, or not adult version. What's the word? Mature economy, and they were the ones for growth, and they did followed our footsteps. So I remember when the Shanghai bubble burst, when Shanghai was at a 5,000. I was like, that's like the Nasdaq bubble bursting in 2000. And then we had our financial crisis 2007 2008. So this year I was like, guys, I'm like, China's going through their financial crisis, where it's not just a financial crisis, it's also a housing crisis and a real estate crisis, and they're getting crushed. I'm like, but if you remember with the financial crisis, if you bought the S&P all of 2008 and 2009, by 2012, we were back at all-time highs. I'm like, if you want to asset allocate, I'm like, you don't try and pick Chinese internet stocks. Those are hard, even though a lot of people made a lot of money with them in the last week or two. I'm like, just buy the FXI for the next 6 months, and you could probably buy for the next year, and chances are you're going to be very, very happy that at some point it's probably going to outperform the U.S. markets. But you can't go wrong buying the FXI, which is like the broad-based ETF for most of all of China. And if you look here at the chart of FXI, obviously on a I remember during this gap here, I'm like, guys, we finally broke the downtrend. You could be long China as an active trader, besides if you just did it every month. And here's the weekly chart. So if you were accumulating China since the start of the year, which we talked about, which was right here, so you were accumulating this entire time, you killed it. And if you look even at the weekly chart overall, it's still nowhere. You're talking about like, you go way, 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 way back. China was above this level in 2017. It's not even back to where it was, when I had my back surgery in 2017. So there's still room left in China. They brought out their bazooka the way Paulson did when I was trading back in the day when I was a young lad. And I would not look, to be. I think the bigger money would be buying dips in these indices, and I still think you can. This would be your next big level in the FXI, which comes at 37. It just filled this void really fast back to resistance. There's a little bit more of a level here, but either way, I was on with Liz Clayman. We talked about it. We talked about it so many different times. I'm hoping some people profited from it. If you didn't, it is what it is. But bottom line is, there's so many ways to approach the market, so many different time frames. And if you're an asset allocator, you definitely should have been putting some money in China over the course of the past 6 months. And we've said that multiple times.
Okay, guys, let us know in the chat. What is your favorite stock right now? Market's near all-time highs. We're just curious what you guys are up to. So what is your favorite stock in the universe right now? Let us know in the chat down below. Okay, so Scott, so I think there's one.
I like that, and I'll put up the chart. So let's see. What is it? Sorry.
Our friend, ironically, UVXY Bull, why isn't his favorite stock UVXY? That's very strange.
No, that's the VIX. So that means the market's going lower if he loves you.
Okay, all right, so Scott. You know what, Scott? I'm gonna hijack this. Could you bring up XLU, because this is sort of the raging bull market nobody's talking about, because these utility stocks, because they're ties to AI. XLU has been going wild.
Wow. And I missed this entire move. I have not been in the XLU once, but if you used Red Dog's methodology, which is when you're above the 8-21 day, and here's the 8-21 day, and you took out a prior level, you've been riding this trend the entire way. But you said, hey, Red Dog, I've been following you for 20 plus years when you're above the 8-21 day, which I have 1,000 different webinars on and this and that. You could have been a buyer of the XLU and been riding it this entire time, and it still looks good. Listen, we say sometimes you don't have to kiss all the babies to make a living, but bottom line is you could use strategies for any sector that you approach, using a tier system, using moving averages, using chart patterns, and make a hell of a lot of money. So this has been very pretty. Now you have another bull flag. If someone asked me, like, what do I do here? I would say, well, as long as it holds, 79, you could be long versus here. And if it were to get above, 80, 77, it opens the door for more. So what a trend. And if you've been making money in the utilities, congratulations. I'm not going to lie to you, I have not. But it's good to see charts, no matter what the sector is, making really good money.
Okay, then why don't we talk about Palantir from our good friend UVXY Bull?
Palantir has been awesome, a leader. Some guys were talking about it today. It feels a little extended. If you remember, we took this long into this gap up because some of my friends were thinking it was going to get added to the S&P 500, and it did. It's, not always going to be right like that. A lot of people were wrong a bunch of times. I would think, it didn't lead this week. It's U.S. tech is kind of rolling over a little bit. I didn't love the action today in the Qs and in some of the Mag 7. A lot of money went to China. I think Palantir is fine, but I just don't. I'm not. I just, I'm not in it. And if someone said gun to head, do we get above 38.19, which is the prior high before breaking? Whatever this low is to see this, it would be a really hard question. I don't know. This is a coin toss to me. It's a leader and it's holding the 8-day, but to me, it's bending a little bit, losing a little momentum. I'd be a little careful with Palantir. If you're active, if you're long term, it's been gorgeous. But if you're active, it does seem a little wishy-washy right here.
Okay. All right. So across the board, most popular request is IWM. Everybody wants to know what's the story here. It looks like it's getting a little bit of some relative strength today, but what do you see with IWM?
It's a freaking hard sector, I'll tell you. I remember right here into that last Fed, it did a push through failure, then it broke, and we got the hell out of the way. And then it, gave you a decent bounce back, gave you a red dog reversal on September 11th, and now it's been really tough. I actually came in long calls thinking if the PCE was light, it can make some money. They went out at like 35 cents. I think my average was 40 cents. I sold them at 70 cents, 80 cents, 90 cents. And then I was a little upset. I felt like I was too, fast. And then now you have this is a little mini red dog reversal. So what I did is I bought some calls into this down move a bunch of days out to like 70, 80 cents, just in case the small caps want to wake up. At some point, I would think in the fourth quarter, you get a better move above this 225 to 228, but it's been really hard. This sector has been very, very tough. I'll be honest with you.
Okay. Yeah. It's funny. Every week I talk to our friend JR and he tells me it's focusing on IWM is the biggest waste of time. Do you think he's right, Scott? Because it's like it feels
I do, because I bet you if you talk to everyone in this chat right now watching, they probably couldn't name 10 stocks in the IWM. They just know the IWM, the small caps. If they lower rates, you buy it. And if the technicals line up, you do it. And I fall for the same thing. Bottom line is it went to 225. It's grinded lower. I thought it was a good calculated play into the PCE. I made money there. Sold it pretty well, actually, now that I look at it, because below 221, it's a zero, and I sold them for 70, 80, 90. Like here, so let's go to the alpha team for a second, just to show, some people don't know what the alpha team is, and I'll show it to them. So, basically you get to see what I do, how I do it, and sometimes it's really good, and sometimes it's not. So here's the alpha team. So Dan's talking right now, leading everybody. Do you guys hear Dan? Do you hear him, Michael?
No, it doesn't come through. It's fine. We're good.
Oh, okay. So anyway, I came in long the IW, and it shows you, and it says overnight, and then it shows you both my sells. And I did it pretty early because I'm like, you know what? The IWM is up above the level. It's 70 cents. I bought it for 35 cents. It's a double. And then I sold some for 90 cents, and I was done with it. I was a little upset. I was like, it's going to go. And I can't believe I just wanted to book it, and I did. And then I rebought for next week, which you could see, and it's been coming in, so I bought a little bit more. The 223s for October 2nd, so that's my play there. I don't love it. If I loved it, I'd be in the IWM itself. Instead, I'm in the actual options. So I'm thinking that this 222.60, if it were to get above it next week with new flows, new quarterly flows, that I bought some options. So I came in long the IWM, made good money. It came in. I'm like, you know what? Let me go out into next week. But I don't have enough conviction where I'm buying the IWM itself, because I'd rather just have risk as premium paid by, using options instead of the actual ETF.
Okay, so since we have Robotaxi Day coming up soon, Joshua was asking about Tesla.
Tesla. I love when Tesla's acting well, and Tesla's been acting fantastic. I'm long the stock and I'm long options, and I'm making money on both. Tesla right now is pretty strong today, while U.S. tech looks a little wishy-washy. You take this little bar away. It's got a nice bull flag. Um, it's been trending nicely above the 8-day, just like the XLU, Mikey. You don't have to be in both. I'd rather be in Tesla than the XLU. But anyway, I got very long here above 235, and I've been massaging it since. It looks like it's going to get to 271 before we have. I think there is deliveries next week, so you have to be a little careful. That's why I'm probably going to be out of the. Not into Monday. I'll be in the stock still, and I'll be in options. But if you go to the weekly chart, there's still a lot of room here for Tesla. If they really want to make this into the AI robot, this, that, boom, bam, why can't it see 271 and then at some point see between 299 and 312? So it's been acting better. It's above all the moving averages. When things are above the moving averages and it's a momentum name, it makes a lot more sense to be long than short. And I'm long options and stock, but I've reduced a little bit. I did this very well. It's nice Tesla right now when it's been a bit of a pain in the ass for a little while prior to this year. So we'll see how it goes into next week.
Okay. Well, why don't we talk about XBI, or the other problem ETF that I do, XBI.
You know what? It failed at 103, which it's been doing. I would have thought. I thought it was going to break above, and I lost a little bit of money. I got stopped out here. I was playing for it to get above 103, and it failed, and then it broke this area, the 8-day. If it breaks the 8-day, it's not special. I get the frick out of the way, and I got out of the way. And now down here, I'm like, maybe they want to mess with everybody. So I bought a call spread for December because I have no idea what's happening in the next 4 weeks. This could break this spot here too. If this were to break this spot, then chances are, this lower rates type trade is not going to be working out. So if you didn't get stopped out here at 101, you better be careful because if it breaks this spot, there's definitely room below. So be careful. It is what it is. I think like Lilly, which has been a leader, broke the 50-day today. I told most of my guys got out of 918. Not that Lilly, and I'm just saying it's, if you're looking at the sector. So if you look here, Eli Lilly, which has been a absolute rock star, broke this wedge to the downside. So that's telling you that if Eli Lilly, which has been the one that's been trying to hold up and break out, is breaking lower, chances are this sector is a little challenged, or at least the leaders of this sector. Maybe the market's going to rotate to laggards, but I don't know. All I know is that if you trade for momentum and you trade to get paid in September or this quarter, you probably get out here around 921. If you didn't, you had to get out when it broke the 50-day because anything can happen now actively. If you've been in this thing, like my friend who named his daughter Lily when she was born, and now she's in 5th grade, you don't care, considering like him, which I've been begging him to sell. Look at it. Look. This is. So I think Lily was born. If she's in 5th grade, when was she born, Michael? She was born.
So she's probably 10 years old. So 2014.
So right here is when he bought the stock because named her Lily and said, I'm going to buy Lily. And now she has a house, she has college, she has everything. That's the beauty of the stock market. If she named her Penelope and bought Pfizer instead, little different story. So congrats to him. But actively, Lily, a lot of people are asking about, is not acting special this second. I don't know why. It just is what it is. And either is Pfizer. Pfizer, we tried it. It didn't really work. Bristol Myers, just to name another one, I had options coming in. I got rid of it today. I was like, you know what? It had every reason to go up, and it's just still a pain in the butt, even though it has a cup and handle. But if there were to break here, it'd be worse. So right now the market's just, we're heading into October, which historically is not a great month, even though either is the last 2 weeks of September, and the last 2 weeks of September were just fine. So I'm trying to bring down my risk so I have more control because I had a really good 2 weeks that I needed. So I'm going to try and make sure that I don't give money back by being a little bit too extended.
Okay, Scott, let's get to some of these semis. So we're getting a request for Lam Research, LRCX.
Hold on, so I need to go in the sauna for a little bit first. Hold on, let's go in the sauna. There's Red Dog in the sauna. Okay, now I'm in the sauna. I wanted to get out of the house. It was too chilly in there. So what was the chart request?
LRCX.
Okay, LRCX. Let's see. LRCX had a pretty decent move. I know that. Had a big gap up with MU, and now it seems like it's trying to fill this gap a little bit. It's pretty broken, to be honest. This is when it changed right here with that big bearish engulfing bar. Never got back more than a third. Continued lower, had another gap down, never filled it. So it traded in the direction of that gap. And now it's trying to be a little bit reborn. But the semis were a little, I'm telling you, I said it was a weird day earlier today. It's a weird day. Even MU, let's look at MU for a second. MU, it's fine still. It went to 114. It's still above this gap, but there's not a lot of power in the semis right now, and it hasn't been a leadership group. So you have to be very careful being too overextended in the semis on the wrong day. So LRCX, once again, if you were buying it versus the gap, you already got stopped out. If now you want to use this as your out, make sure it holds 820.
Okay, Scott, we're getting AMD is another one people want to know about.
AMD, a lot of people made really good money this week, but it was better to sell it today than buy it, which always happens. Last time we spoke about buying this thing was right around 160, and now you have a pretty red bar. Here's your 8-day. It's a little extended. I'd be very, very light or out of it, to be honest. Looks like it's heading back to this 160 area at some point. It's already filling this gap and not acting great the same way, like as I said before, which again, if you look at the chart, it's like not a big deal. You had an inside range, you went up to 168, got rejected here, and now it just looks like it could see the 8-day or somewhere in here. So just be careful having too much size.
Okay, Scott, Bitcoin is another one on people's minds.
I'll be honest, I've been buying a lot of IBIT. This has been a focus this week, and I'm making really good money here. Gets a little, wishy-washy where it feels like it's going to fail. I'm hoping it doesn't. It's still, Bitcoin itself is in this big range, and ultimately you would think it could fill this void, or what do they call that? The volume gap, or what is it? All those people, I don't know. Either which way, there's a void right here. It can get filled. And then you have this big, resistance area. So I would think, for some reason, I always remember, I was saying this today, in the 6:30 club at 9 o'clock, saying that I always feel like over Thanksgiving, Bitcoin is always like frothy and through the roof. And you have your mother-in-law, the taxi driver. Everyone's like, oh my God, how do I get in Bitcoin? How do I get in crypto? And then it gets sold. So right now, before that happens, it's only September 27th. And this chart looks pretty good where it's going to work back to here and it can go higher. So I am long the IBIT. If you look at the weekly chart of Bitcoin, it looks really set up. I know we had a great trade from 31 and 40 and 48. It's been going sideways for a while. So if it were to take out to 73, all these Bitcoin crazy guys that think it's going to go to 100,000 or more, it could happen fast. It could be like a China. Who said that? Like an FXI, FXI. Look how fast that went. Anyway, I'm not saying it's going to happen in Bitcoin, but all I know is we look at IBIT, which is a new ETF. That's why it's so it's so fresh. Let's go back to Bitcoin. It could happen fast. I want to have exposure here. The miners are tough. They're not they don't move the way they used to move. Most of them are broken. So be careful buying your Mara, your Riot, all those guys. I've been in one that's been acting pretty well, which I can show you guys too. But this feels like at some point in the next 3 months, it could be up here. So you don't want to miss that. And I'm going to try and make sure that I don't miss it either. And then if you go to some of the miners are not trading as if that's going to happen. But one of them that I like a lot, which people have been making really good money, is the CORZ. As long as it holds above, just say 1175, you could be long. My institutional friends think it's going to 18. I did buy this one, Wolf, which is another one. It's not acting great, to be honest. Hopefully it holds this little 8-day moving average. If not, I'm giving it a little bit more room. They think this is going to be about 15-ish. So just some things to think about and look at. But ultimately, like something like Amara, not really doing a whole lot here. I had CLSK on. I sold it today. I said it can get to 1050, and it pretty much almost got there. But these things are not trading lockstep with Bitcoin the way they used to. So just be careful.
Okay, I want to throw a little question out to the audience because I noticed something really funny on these live streams that
This is water,
people
by the
on
way.
YouTube. All right, it's okay, Scott. You can have an adult beverage. We're not.
It's
We're,
not
we're,
today.
we're not
It's
gonna hold it. If you want to have some rum punch, that's okay on a Friday. So just curious out there, everybody on Twitter say hi because there's much fewer people on YouTube, but the YouTube people interact much more. So let us know, you Twitter people, why are you so silent? Let us know like why everybody on Twitter doesn't talk more. Okay, so Scott, so what's on your mind? We have a couple minutes left. What's on your mind heading into next week?
I'm gonna play a little defense. I have a little less on than I've had. Today I was up a lot more money and I lost a bunch of it, but I'm still up for the day and had a really good 2 weeks. I don't really know this feels like there's a little rotation. It feels like money left a little bit of the U.S. markets to go to the Chinese markets. It feels like some of these Mag 7 names are a little bit more on the defense versus looking great. So, I'm a tiny bit lost. So when I'm a little lost, I'm just going to try and let the trade come to me. You don't need to always trade. You don't need to be in everything. You want to bet, if you're playing blackjack, you want to wait for an 11 versus 6 to double down. And I'm not really seeing so many great things. I've been in Dash for a long time. I like Dash. If Dash could pull into, a little bit lower, it's been very slow. It's crazy how there are no sellers here. I do think this thing is going to go, towards 175 at some point this year. I've been in it since right around there. Maybe it gets to here. I like Reddit. I think Reddit's still acting well. Market stays strong. There's a lot more here than just Wall Street bets. And, I do think that you could buy a dip. It's above the 8-day. And then I'm just wondering to see like what's really the problem with the semis today. Like, or some of the leaders. Is it just sometimes it happens the last day of the month and will we get new flows? So I'm a little lost, and I don't want to give back money for overdoing the trade right here. I don't think this is a spot to overdo the trade.
Okay. All right, Scott. So, Scott, are you going to go back and trade the close? We got 10 minutes left. You're going to try to max out this week at the last minute?
I'm going to see how things close and see how I want to position. Because, again, there's let's just run through some quicker the Mag 7. Like Meta. Meta looks good. Meta already gave you the all-time high trade, but, is it going to hold this 562, go sideways and go again? That's a good question. I'm going to watch Meta. Netflix was really hard. I made good money in Netflix playing it, but like all of a sudden it broke out and had to pull back so fast. So, that's a little bit tricky. Apple is still in this little pocket pivot. It tried to go and couldn't. So what's going on there? I don't know. Amazon, broke the 8-day. Some people think there's going to be some big strike coming up with the docs. So I guess maybe people are a little scared. Plus you have Costco wasn't great. And they're cutting rates because the retail guy's not supposed to be doing so hot. But anyway, I thought maybe it would hold here and go, and it broke. So you have to be a little careful there. You can move this down or to the 21 days. So I'm not seeing anything that's so tight. I'm like, I got to wait. I got to go. Like that. We had that with NVIDIA this week. NVIDIA right here was absolutely fantastic. It looked like it was, ready to go. And it was. And you had this big candle and you went through. And now the question is, hey, where does it hold? Oh, it looks like it's rallying a little bit. That's good. I have a bunch of options on for next week. I bought the 125s for next week, by the way, just in case. Someone brought up this SERV, which was a name that that I think actually NVIDIA, invested in. It had a big move to the 20s. It's been going sideways. I bought some of that today, so we'll see. It looked a little bit better before. Maybe it gets going a little bit to something. Thoughts on David Tepper? I love David Tepper. I was sitting on my desk back in like the 2012s or something like that when he came out and he was fully bullish, and I was like, that makes sense. And he's a very realistic guy. Short Hills, his CFO works around here. I've had a lot of dinners with him, and I think he's great. He's great for Wall Street. He tells it like it is. He's a family guy, and I think he watched my segment with Liz Clayman because he's been buying China for 6 months, and I've spoken to her about it twice. No, I'm kidding. But listen, he also said that like the U.S. markets are good, but it's, the P is a little high, and you just have to be a bit more careful, which is exactly the truth. And we've been doing some things in the U.S. markets that are a little odd, where it's like, kind of continue. So nobody wants to get caught with their pants down. That's why we have multiple accounts, and I'll do a chart on the S&P cash, the weekly, and talk about my 8 accounts, how I make money quarterly for a living. Some traders do it monthly. I try and do it quarterly, so I'm not so worried about, the end of the month to get the paycheck. And then I talked about Redler at 52, my 401k, the 403b, the blood in the street, the whole life. Lots of ways to accumulate wealth, make cash flow, and send your kid to college without asking for bailouts from Washington. We don't do that here. No. If you have to, you have to. Yeah, everyone needs help every now and then. But I do like David Tepper. I like him better than most hedge fund managers, and I was just playing golf with a bunch of them on Wednesday. Did you see the picture with me and Doc Gooden and Darryl Strawberry?
Yeah, that was. I just wished. I was a huge Mets fan. I wished like Howard Johnson was there and Lenny Dykstra. And,
oh my God, Lenny Dykstra was there. He got a stripper pole. No, I'm kidding.
I have some amazing Lenny Dykstra stories. I can tell off camera.
No, I remember. I was actually I used to get interviewed for Trader Monthly magazine, and he was like writing a column for that. And anyway, and then he was promoting penny stocks or something. It was like, what the hell are you doing, Lenny?
One of the, he sold. This is public, so I'll say it. He had like gas stations in California. He sold them for like $60 million.
When?
Like early 2000s. He got into these. He got into, but he blew all the money.
He blew. Fucking God. It's like P. Diddy. What the hell's the matter with the guy? He was a mogul worth billions, and he's having like underage friggin' parties for women and getting them. And now he's going to jail. He's on suicide watch. What the frick's the matter with people? That's why you got to stay even keel. If you're feeling it and you're thinking you're doing too great, do something to bring yourself down to earth, because nobody's above the law, and everybody has to pay the piper if you don't follow, the rules of the road. Every sector, every job, has rules of the road. But being a person, you have rules of the road, and if you don't break those rules, you deserve to get a little bit of a slap.
Yeah, you want to break rules? You go to U.S. Congress where you can do insider trading and it's totally illegal. That's the
you want to be
Nancy
Pelosi, and make $250 a year and be worth $100 million when you're done. That's great.
And you do it right. It's a license to steal. You don't even have to hide it. You do it right out in the open. That's the amazing thing.
You guys should watch. If you need a movie to watch this week, and I'll give you The Distinguished Gentleman with Eddie Murphy. It was a very funny movie back in the day. Eddie Murphy, I like him. He did a movie where he all of a sudden wanted to run for Congress, and he was like, this is like, he was a con artist, and he used to steal money. He goes, why don't you just become a politician? It's a license to steal and print money. It's a funny movie. Go watch it. The Distinguished Gentleman, Eddie Murphy. And if you watch it and you tweeted me and you said you loved it, maybe we'll give you power plays. Can we do that, Mikey?
Not for a tweet. We're gonna have to.
We got to figure out a little bit more than that.
These things always cause trouble. So
I want to do a contest, and I want to give out some Power Play subscriptions for the fourth quarter. Let's figure out how to do that, because once they have the Power Plays for the fourth quarter, they'll become Power Plays. Save 5 times really fast subscribers for life, because it's a great product where I try and use all of my knowledge and roll it into 4 or 5 situations that I think can make you money that have a high probability. Instead of you having to figure it out, we basically tell you what to do and give you a stop, versus you reading a note and saying, hey, I like this, I like that. I'm basically taking the guessing out of it for you. I'm saying, hey, this looks good. I'm in it. You could buy it. It probably goes there. It shouldn't go there. And then maybe it goes there. And that's 30 years wrapped up into one for the Power Plays.
Okay, guys, because I'm a nice guy, I'm going to give you a secret link. If you share this with anybody, there will be trouble. You will be banned from the 630 Club. We know, Elon, we will get you knocked off of Twitter too. T3live.com/power.
Fourth quarter? So if you're watching this video, which is 3:56, I'm not even trading the close, but my P&L's going up. Something's going up. Just join for the fourth quarter. No. Scott, we're not going to. Scott,
let's not be cheap. We're going to give him a whole year, because it would be terrible. It would make us bad people to withhold this magic from people. So I'm sorry. Scott is the boss. I'm going to have to. This is a hostile takeover. You're getting the whole year. You're not getting the fourth quarter. T3live.com/power. You get more. We give you more.
There you go.
It would be a sin to only give people the Red Dog for a quarter. You need a whole year.
Trial. I thought it was just like kind of like the beta man, have them for a quarter, make a lot of money, and then be a subscriber for life. That's what we try and do. But anyway, that's cool. If you can give them a year off the bat, then it's even more consistency.
It's an annual deal. It's an annual deal. So go to T3. The price is amazing. I'm not even going to say it. It's so amazing. T3live.com/power. T3live.com/power.
All right, now I got to go. I got 3 minutes to adjust. Love you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye, everybody.